Hey guys, Hacks for Tech here for another video, and today we're going to be talking about the best possible password management app. And I actually have a what I think is probably an unpopular opinion here, but I'm going to go over the pros and cons of those applications. I'm going to tell you what I use and tell you what I think could be best for your use, and just kind of compare some of the options that are out there. So as far as password managers go, probably the most popular password manager available right now is LastPass. Now that's just based off how widespread this is kind of advertised, how many people use the application. Plus it was acquired by LogMeIn, which is a pretty big company. So this is definitely one of the most popular options out there. And for those that are not familiar with this application, I'm going to go ahead and go through some of the features, and we're going to look at that app now. So LastPass is a fairly straightforward application. Now, unfortunately, you can see here it's blacking it out, so it's actually not going to allow me to open the app to display here. So I'm going to have to just show you some of the screenshots through the Play Store. But I'm going to talk about my experience here, and we can maybe look at some of the features. So here is just a quick view of what you'll get with LastPass. So this is the general layout here. You have the ability to put passwords in from any website you can go to. You can also store credit cards and similar information. I've stored banking account information in here. You can put in secure notes as well, which is useful if you want to just remind yourself of something if it's not specific to a website. And this is pretty similar to a lot of those different options that are out there for password management. Here you can see that on your mobile devices, it does give you the ability to autofill passwords in different applications. In this example, Facebook, for example, you can autofill the information using what you've saved in there. You can obviously do this on a desktop machine as well. So if you have LastPass installed either as a Chrome extension, or the Firefox extension, I believe, is available as well. Or even if you have it locally downloaded, you can use that on your PC to form fill passwords, email addresses, and things like that. You can use LastPass to create your own passwords if you'd like, so you can have it automatically generate a password. You can have it automatically pick between different characteristics as well. So if you want the length to be longer, then you can have it set from anywhere from 16 to, I believe, you can have hundreds of characters in there if you want, and then if you have it stored, you don't ever have to remember that password. You can use fingerprint recognition as well, so if you want to just be able to access your vault using your fingerprint, you can sign in with your fingerprint after you're logged in. You can sync it to all of your devices, which would mean tablets, your iOS or Android devices, PC, etc. And so those are just a few of the things that are kind of advertised through the app here. Here you can see it's auto-filling in a tablet as well. So I just wanted to show some of the things here that's advertised on the LastPass app. Now, my experience with this application, I can definitely say that it's probably one of the password managers I've used most. It's actually the app that I preferred for the longest amount of time. The reason that I stopped using LastPass was due to some issues that I had with the authentication method that I chose, and I'll kind of show you here what I had some problems with. So under security here, if I go to my Authy app, I'm not going to open it here, but you can see basically, well, I guess I can go ahead and open it. It shouldn't have anything confidential in here. I'm going to put in my password. Okay, so it looks like it is also blocking out Authy as well, so I'm not going to be able to show that here, but and I can't take screenshots or anything of that nature, but basically what Authy is an application that allows you to get a code, and that code is going to expire after a preset amount of time. Usually it's somewhere between 30 seconds or somewhere around that range. And it's just a second layer of authentication to be able to access whatever your app is, whether it's LastPass or whether it's another password manager or another tool. And so when I was using that, I would sign into LastPass, I would check the prompt to allow access for 30 days. And when I would do that, it would stay signed in for maybe a week, and then it would prompt me to re-enter the code again. Sometimes it would disconnect, sometimes it would not let me in. I'd have to close out of the app and reopen it. So ultimately, the reason that I stopped using LastPass is due to the glitchy nature of ultimately the mobile application itself. If it wasn't for the mobile application causing me the problems that it did, then I probably would have stuck with LastPass. But because I had those problems, I started looking at alternative options. Now I will take you just briefly to the main website here, and we can look at how you use LastPass in your browser on a desktop device. Now again, I'm logging in through my browser. You can also use the Chrome extension if you'd like. But here you can see that when I go ahead and try to log in through my desktop browser, it asks to authenticate, so I have to use my Authy to get that code, which I'm going to go ahead and plug in my code now from my Authy application. Okay, so we've gone ahead and logged into LastPass, and I do have some information here that I don't want to show on my screen, so I've blocked that out. But anyway, so this is, you can kind of see here, the main interface of the LastPass application on the website. And so from here, I can just actually go to one of the listings that I have down here. So for example, Amazon Book Publishing, I can launch that and I can immediately sign into that particular website. If I have the Chrome extension installed, you'll have an icon in the top right corner of your screen in Chrome, and you can click on that to either sign into LastPass and see all of your passwords in sort of a smaller view of what you have here, or when you go to a website, as you saw before on the mobile app, you'll have a little icon that'll pop up prompting you to use your saved credentials. So it's a good application. LastPass is completely free. Now there is obviously a paid version like there is with pretty much all of these options. There is a paid version that you can pay for. I believe it's around, actually let's even just see how much that is. So LastPass Premium, their pricing has changed since they were acquired by LogMeIn. So if we look at the plans and pricing here, the free version is going to give you all the basic functions, and you can get a trial of the premium version. It's $3 a month for 1 gigabyte of encrypted file storage for personal security, or if you'd like the family plan, which allows you to have 6 premium licenses, that's $4 a month. So ultimately, these are not incredibly pricey. I mean, these are reasonably priced. So this would come out to, just under $50 per year if you're doing the family plan. About $36 a year for the premium plan. So it's really not too expensive, just depending on what you think is fair for password management, but it also depends on the features you need. And for me, the free version was plenty, so I didn't need to actually upgrade to any of these services here. There are also business plans available, so you can certainly consider that if you're a business that needs it for your employees. But just to give you an idea of the costs. Now again, I definitely don't have an issue with LastPass. It's definitely probably the runner-up for me in terms of services, just because it does offer unlimited storage of all of your passwords and accounts in here. There is no limit to how many that you can store in here. There is a limit to the amount of data that you can store. So you saw it has a gigabyte of encrypted storage with the premium plan. I believe they limit how many files you can attach ultimately on the free plan. So if you wanted to have screenshots, or if you wanted to have pictures of like credit cards and things like that, I believe that is limited. But you can, I know that at least in the plan that I have, the free plan that I have, I was able to attach a few pictures. I don't really use that function very often. I was able to attach a few. I believe they just limit that. And then, there are other premium features, again, that are limited. You can't share it with family members in the free plan. And really, the biggest thing is, again, the storage. And there are some other small features in there, but again, not really a lot of things that I found were particularly useful that I needed from the paid plans. So the free plan was fine for me. So that's really all of the basics here of LastPass. It's a good all-around service, but there were just some things that were a little bit finicky, some glitches here and there. There were some times where I saw that the service was down, and so those down times made me a little bit hesitant to use the service. reliably. Sometimes I would go to access my information and I just could not get in through the mobile app, or I'd have problems with the main website. And ultimately, again, that's what made me look at alternative options. So not to say that that's going to always happen to you, but that was what made me start looking at alternate options. And I wanted something that was just, as reliable as possible. Not that anything is 100% reliable, but something that was reliable and very simple. So that led me to actually what is my favorite service. And I'm going to switch back over to my mobile application here in a second. We're going to look at my favorite contender here, which is something by Zoho. So the Zoho Password Manager is actually my favorite. And this is an unpopular opinion, I believe, because not a lot of people I know actually use this service. I'm just going to show you some of the screenshots here so you can see the difference of what this looks like. This is the basic interface for Zoho Password Manager. And Zoho, a lot of people don't know about their services. I actually like them. Certainly not sponsored by them, but they have a lot of good kind of competition services to things like Google's G Suite and Microsoft Office. They have word processors and things that handle application to handle spreadsheets and all kinds of different things that are meant for business purposes. But a lot of their tools are available for free for personal use. And in this case, the password manager doesn't cost anything, just like LastPass. But I'll tell you the reason that I switched to them. Not that necessarily it's going to be the best reason for everyone, but I'll just give my honest kind of review here. So this is what the interface looks like. There's some similarities to LastPass, and here you can see, just like with LastPass, when you go to certain applications, in this case Twitter, you'll get a little icon there where you can autofill using your Zoho Vault. Similar to LastPass, you can create custom passwords. You can share passwords securely with family and colleagues and different teams. Now, I can't remember for sure. I believe you can actually do this on one of the free plans, but I don't use that feature. There's a dark mode available, which makes it easier on your eyes, of course. And I do like that dark mode feature. That was definitely something that was useful that I did not find in LastPass. But the biggest reason that I actually switched to the Zoho Vault function, and I'll go here on my desktop just to show you what that looks like here in a moment, was due to actually the more simple nature of being able to sign in with two-factor authentication. Now again, I tried multiple two-factor authentication methods with LastPass, and it was a bit spotty. I just had consistent issues where, number one, it did not keep me signed in for 30 days. And in addition to that, sometimes when I would input the information from the app, I knew the information was correct. It would just either crash or something would happen, and I would not be able to sign into the app. So it was getting a bit frustrating because I want to be able to quickly and easily access my passwords. I don't really even use the autofill function all that often, completely honest. So I wanted something that was fast and easy to use. And I tried this out, and this has been the fastest, easiest one for me to use because I can just go and quickly go in there. And even if I'm not autofilling, I can even just copy a password more quickly than I could with LastPass. LastPass does give you the option to, copy individually your usernames, passwords, and other fields. But this was a little bit faster because I could sign in easier. Now I'm going to take a look here and see if it'll actually let me go in here and show this. I don't believe it's going to allow me to. Okay, so let's see. All right, so it's blacked out. It's not going to let me show it here, but I can go to the version on my PC. Okay, so now I've got everything I need to covered up here, and I'm on the main site for Zoho Vault. It's very simple and very easy to use interface. There's some similarities to LastPass. I would say that LastPass definitely is aesthetically maybe a little bit nicer. It's definitely fancier looking, but again, Zoho for me is a little bit simpler to use, and it's just bare bones. It has everything that I need. It doesn't have anything added on that was kind of filler or gimmicky kind of features. So this is the main layout here, and you can go up here and you can search for any password or information that you have saved. Again, just like in LastPass, you can log in automatically by clicking on this button. It'll take you to the website and it'll sign you in automatically. You can edit your entries, delete your entries. You can add screenshots. The one caveat to Zoho Vault is that you cannot add images or files from the mobile app. That was one thing that was a little bit of a caveat, and since I don't use that feature very often, it didn't bother me, but that is one caveat. Now I did have like 2 times where I needed to add something, so I actually just signed in on my web browser on my Android device, and I was able to add the file there. So I just signed in through vault.zoho.com, and I was able to upload the file there when I wasn't near my laptop or my desktop computer. So that's something to consider. If you really want the ease of being able to do that from a mobile app, then you won't be able to do it here. But for me, again, that was not a problem. So this is the layout of the website. It's pretty simple, but what I really liked, again, is that where a lot of other options out there did not give me the option to do SMS verification or just had problems with the two-factor authentication. The default two-factor authentication with Zoho is SMS, and it always works flawlessly for me, and once I put in the code, it lasts for the full amount of time, which I believe is 30 days as well. But once I sign in once, it never signs me back out, never prompts me for my password again until that window expires. So it keeps me signed in for a while, so I don't have to keep putting in my password or my two-factor authentication code all the time. It does offer those other options as well, so if I wanted to use Authy or if I wanted to use another similar two-factor authentication method, I can. Just for me, SMS was easier, and I always have my phone number kept as one. I don't ever change my phone number, whereas with things like Authy and some of those other options, I may go to a new device, and while I keep the phone number the same, I may forget to install that application, or I might have to go back and sign in and forget what the sign in for that particular application is because I don't have access to my vault at that point, and things like that. So SMS worked fine for me, but again, it was really simplicity of this service, how easy it was to store my information in here, and also how easy it was to import information over from LastPass. With Zoho, you can import anything over from LastPass through, I believe, a spreadsheet. There's a couple other ways that you can easily import all the information over. They list out the ways that you can do it if you just do a search for transfer information from Zoho or from LastPass Manager to Zoho Vault, I believe is what I searched for. If you just do a quick search for that, you'll be able to find a guide that'll talk about the method. And when you do that, when you follow that process, it took me about 5 to 10 minutes to do all of that. So it's pretty easy. And once you have everything imported in there, you'll have all your information to go, and you can start adding new information into the vault. And that's pretty much it. That's really all there is to Zoho. Again, a lot of similarities to LastPass, but for me, just a little bit more reliable. It is coming from a company that does business, creates business services for different business users. So it's not like a smaller name company that could potentially go out of business, which would risk compromising the longevity of your passwords and information being stored. That's one thing to consider. You definitely don't want to deal with smaller companies that may end up going out of business, in which case you would lose your information. So they're definitely reputable, and you don't have to worry about your information being lost, whether it's Zoho or LastPass or any of these bigger services usually are fine. And also they use pretty secure methods of transporting and managing your information as well. It is all encrypted, which they do talk about when you go to the informational page. So if we go to the informational page for Zoho Vault here, talks about some of the features. So this talks a little bit about the information security and privacy using Zoho Vault, why they're trusted, the way that you can securely share the information. And again, if we just do a quick comparison for the pricing here, you can see that it's only 99 cents a month for their standard plan, whereas it started at $3 a month if you were doing the premium plan on LastPass. It's $360 a month for the professional, $630 a month for the enterprise version. And you can see even the enterprise version per user is approaching a similar cost for LogMeIn. For just perspective here, they're definitely a lot cheaper. And you can see everything that you get for the 99 cents a month here with the standard plan. So really, I think value-wise, ultimately, Zoho was a little bit better. Again, depending on what your needs are, some people definitely prefer the interface of LastPass, which is fine. But for my needs, I felt that this definitely satisfied it better. And the next one I'm going to talk about, which is Warden, it is probably the closest thing that convinced me to almost switch over just because of its open source nature. but Zoho Vault just fit all my needs the best, and was my favorite tool overall. So this is what I use daily for my password management, and is what I can continue to and plan to continue to use from now on. Okay guys, so the next one that I'm going to be reviewing here or looking at is Warden. And Warden is actually, it's on my top list here of password managers. Again, there's going to be more password managers out there than what I'm going to go over in this video. But it was a difficult decision to switch between the three because I've used all three of them, which is LastPass, Zoho Vault, and Warden at some point. But I'll talk about what were some of the reasons that I didn't end up going with Warden. Now this is also a really good one, but I think what is probably the most appealing concept here with Warden is that it's open source. So it's not the same as Zoho Vault and LastPass, which are bigger organizations. Warden is a little bit smaller in terms of who it comes from. It's a small community, but it is completely open source. Which is definitely a plus. And as far as their plans go, there's not a lot of emphasis on the paid plans, which is nice. There is a paid plan that you can subscribe to, which is also yearly, but it's not terribly expensive. And it's really, I think, meant to just support the creator of the content. So this is Warden here. You can see it also takes some similarities from Zoho Vault and LastPass. You can quickly and easy go in here and see all of your login information, your passwords. Another thing that's really nice with Warden is that you can create custom fields in here. Now that's something that I forgot to mention with Zoho Vault. Zoho Vault, you can create custom fields and custom types. So if you wanted to create, for example, specifically a server access form, for example, if you had a bunch of different server access credentials that you were trying to store, and there was specific information that you wanted to put into those particular pages, you could set that up with Zoho Vault. Here, I don't know if you can necessarily do it based off a type, but you can go in, and when you're creating a brand new entry, you can create as many custom fields as you want, so you don't even have to worry about using a template. You can just kind of customize it each time. So that's definitely nice. You can see here that you can, again, just like the others, copy the field information, so from the username and password fields. You can autofill in your browser, both on your mobile devices as well as if you have the Chrome extension, or if you have the extension for whatever browser you're using on desktop. That's certainly available as well, and it's similar functionality as both Vault and LastPass. I really haven't found that one of them works particularly better than the other. Warden has definitely been fairly reliable in my testing. Again, I wouldn't really say that there was a huge difference because they all kind of do the same thing here, but it is a feature that's available. It also has the ability to generate passwords like the others. You can log in with your fingerprint. There's a dark theme in here. You can sync between your phone, tablet, desktop, and web interface. So again, it's a lot of similar things here. So the big things, again, in addition to the open source nature of this particular service, is really just that. Outside of that, there's not a lot of things that make it special. I think the biggest thing that really motivated me to move to Zoho Vault was related to the attachments part. And I'm going to go ahead and just really quickly jump over to a new browser. So let me go ahead and jump over to a new browser. Okay, so I'm on the Warden website here, and I just wanted to show you guys some of the things that I noticed. So here's just the main page where you can see they do have enterprise solutions, even though it is open source. Enterprise solutions are available. You can use the free version, or you can use the paid version for personal use. It's available for Windows, Mac OS, Linux. All these different browsers here support it, as well as mobile. You can use command line functions. And for power users, it's definitely a really good tool to have. I think the interface is very simplistic. It's not as complex and as feature-rich as maybe some of the other options out there. But again, it's definitely very nice that there's not a big organization or company that's behind the product. and you can definitely count that they're never going to really change the features, or at least I would trust that they're not going to change the features you get with the free plan here. You can see that without paying for anything, you get access to install the Warden apps. You can sync on all of your devices, store unlimited items in your vault. You get secure notes and things like that, two-step authentication, the secure password manager, and you can self-host your own server if you'd like as well, which is nice, and especially for a small organization, that's really great. For $10 a year, which also again is very, very cheap, that's less than $1 a month actually, so extremely cheap for the premium version. It gives you the ability to have 1 gigabyte of encrypted file storage, two-step login with YubiKey, password hygiene and health vault reports, authenticator key storage and code generator, priority customer support. So there's a lot of really great things in here. And I have to say, this between LastPass, Warden, and Zoho Vault, this would probably be my second favorite. Again, I mentioned some of the problems I had with LastPass in terms of the functionality, and actually between the three of them, LastPass was also the one that most oftentimes had some sort of downtime or experienced something that would have affected me from being able to get in and access my data. I will definitely say I have not had any problems with Warden in terms of being able to get in and access the information, and with the premium plan, for Warden, it's so cheap, it's very tempting for me to go with it just because it is open source. And if I wanted to get that 1 gigabyte of encrypted file storage, that would certainly have everything that I need. And the file storage part was the only thing that the free version of Warden did not offer that Zoho Vault does. Now with Zoho Vault, the free version, it gives me file storage. LastPass also does offer that. But with the free version of Zoho Vault, again, the caveat there is that in order to attach a file, you have to do it through the desktop interface, whether that's through a mobile browser and going to the desktop site, or again, going on a desktop machine and adding the file information there. So that could be a screenshot of a credit card, it could be a picture of some complicated information that you wanted to just save and attach to one of your entries. All of those different kinds of things would be attachments that you might want to store. Now, if you wanted to do that with Warden, you would have to pay for the premium version, but again, it's less than $1 a month, so it's not very expensive at all. And $10 is a very reasonable investment and really just donation to the company for what they're actually offering here, versus with LastPass, I think it's over the $40-ish range for many of their plans. So there's definitely a huge cost-saving advantage there if you were going with this. So this is definitely my close second favorite. I just personally use Zoho Vault, but it's definitely an option. Now the next one that I'm going to look at here is a little bit more on the expensive side, so I did want to show it because it is a popular option here, but it's not one of the ones that I've ever used. It's not one of the ones I've ever considered. I'm not going to really go into too much detail here, but this one is Dashlane. And Dashlane, it has some similar functionality. I think that probably it's the prettiest quote-unquote looking app of the mix. It definitely has a really clean interface. I like that. And it definitely works very fluidly. I have tested it before just with the free version. I haven't spent very much time on it. I have not used it as my main password manager. I've tested it before. So again, I can definitely say it looks really nice. You could also even browse privately using the built-in VPN, which is nice. There are other free VPNs that are available, so that wasn't really a huge feature for me. But it's definitely visually appealing. That's, I think, the only thing that really differentiates it from other password managers, more or less. There are some little things here and there, but there wasn't a lot of standout features. I think the biggest thing for me that really pushed me away from using Dashlane is the price. And you'll notice I think Dashlane is amongst the most expensive password managers that are available right now. There are some dedicated loyal users who just prefer the interface and the experience with Dashlane, but let's look at their pricing here. So if we go to their plans, you can see that if I scroll down here, there is a free plan. It's a little bit limited for me because the biggest thing is that none of these other services limit you on the amount of passwords that you can have. You can have unlimited passwords that may limit how much you can store on there and other different things like that. While with Dashlane, it's actually limiting how many passwords you can store. And 50 is definitely not enough for me. That's really just, again, that was enough for me to try the service, but not comprehensive enough for me to use um, as basically my main service. I would have to, if I wanted to use this service, I would have to subscribe to at least the premium version, which is $5 a month. Not terribly expensive, but when you start considering that that's about half the cost of something like Spotify, um, and then that's, something I don't really need because there are free options out there that do what I need, that give me unlimited passwords. It gives me unlimited devices. It gives me the form and payment autofill information capability. I mean, if you just look through the features here, the only thing feature-wise in premium for $4.99 a month that I cannot get from the other three services that we just looked at would be the VPN for Wi-Fi protection. And that VPN connection option is something that I can get for free with other VPN apps in the Play Store, so it's definitely not something that would motivate me to go with that. And then we start looking at these other premium plans here with Premium Plus, $10 a month, so that comes out to about $120 a year. And ultimately, again, you can see that there's some additional features you get in here, like credit monitoring, identity restoration support, identity theft insurance. Those are things that, in fairness, are not offered with any of the other services, but they're not features that really provide any kind of interest to me or for what I'm doing. So Dashlane, it's a very popular option out there. You'll see a lot of people do oftentimes advertise it. It's just not one of the options that I personally thought would be the best route for me to go for my password management. Now, real quick, we'll just look at a few more before we go here. Again, if you do a search for password managers, what I like to do is I like to look through the store and find all of the most popular options out there and really review what most people are kind of downloading and using. One of the other ones that we'll go over here, there's a couple more that I'll go over. I wanted to jump really quick to this one called Mikey. And this is one that's kind of unique. Again, this is not what I'm using, but it is a little bit interesting, and this is a little bit of a shift from the other ones we were just looking at here. So Mikey allows you to use, this is an offline setup here, so you can keep all your private information secure and off cloud servers, and it's completely free. This is a viable option for people that don't want to use a cloud service. I personally like using the cloud setup with Vault and the other ones that I've used that are cloud-based. That's my preference because I access it on so many different devices. I don't want to have to sync across more than one device at once. I want to be able to just access it on whatever device I'm on. But if you want it to be offline completely, you can share the information from here. You can store and manage payment cards and ID cards and things like that. And it's got a really neat setup here. It's completely offline. It does have two-factor authentication built into it. And as far as a solution that is kind of protecting your privacy, this would probably be the best one to go with if you're okay with something that is really single device specific. If you went with this solution, then again, you're effectively going to be getting all your information off your mobile device, or otherwise you're going to have to sync the information back across to whatever other device you're on. I believe there is a client that can interface with your desktop machines. But again, since you're going to have to sync it back and forth, it's going to take more time. It's not something you can just easily access from whatever device you're on without a little bit of extra work. But the interface is very clean here. It definitely stores all the information that I needed. I believe there was some form filling capabilities in here if you wanted to do that as well. I don't remember for sure. But it's got a really clean setup, and this is definitely my pick again for the best password manager that is offline, completely not cloud-based. So if you guys are interested in something like that, this is definitely the way to go. And these will again be linked in the description, so any of these that you're interested in, you can certainly check out and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now the next one we're going to jump over to is Sticky Password Manager. And sticky passwords is one I've seen some mention of on the internet. I'm not a huge fan of it because, again, I'm kind of comparing this to the other options out there. You can see some of these similar features. You can sync this across all of your different devices, but sticky passwords, it's not using their own servers, I don't believe, to sync that information. It's utilizing other cloud-based services to be able to sync your information. And this is just really probably the least appealing setup in terms of the overall look. of the interface, the consistency of how it works with other devices. It's okay, I just felt like there were better options out there, so I never really spent much time working on this one or working with this one. And it is something that you can pay for as well, so you can see there's in-app purchases here, but I just thought there were better options, so I didn't really spend a lot of time reviewing or kind of working with this particular app. And then there's two more that I wanted to go over. There's RoboForm Password Manager. I actually like RoboForm for its form filling capabilities most, but as far as the password manager goes, again, it's a similar story. It does offer a lot of similar capabilities to the other ones that I reviewed here. It's okay, just as far as purely a password manager, I just preferred using it for the form filling capabilities. The overall layout and interface is okay, but nothing special. It was not my very, very top list, but it is a contender up there for anyone that's looking for alternative options. You can see here they do list out on the Play Store some of the options that are available here, and they have 24/7 technical support, live chat options available if you're interested in that. This is something that is web-based as well, so if you guys wanted to access it through the website versus the app, similar, again, capabilities to all the other ones that we covered here. I just didn't have anything when I was kind of testing this out. There's nothing that really stood out to me that made me want to use this more than the other options. And it's kind of hard, again, to explain because there's so many options out here for password managers. There's just got to be something really that stands out to make you want to use it over the other options that are available in there. It's a very competitive space. So again, it is an option, but it wasn't my top 3 list of options here. And then the final one that I wanted to review here is OnePassword. And OnePassword it's one of those apps that's been around for a very long time. I think when it first came out, there wasn't as much competition, and it was a pretty solid option. Again, this is something you can sync across devices, but I don't believe it's purely cloud-based, so it's not using necessarily their servers, from what I remember, in kind of testing this out. But you can sync the information across devices. Again, it's just a very simple interface, nothing really particularly special. For me personally, if I want something that's going to be available on all devices, I'll use something that has their own dedicated cloud syncing capabilities and something that I can just sign into the website. No matter where I'm at, I have all the information available. Both Zoho Vault, LastPass, and Warden all offer better, at least in my opinion, options for cloud syncing password managing solutions that are better than OnePassword, better than RoboForm for me at least. And so, again, it's an option, similar functions, just nothing really stand out here that would have made me switch to this. So those are the options here. Again, I just wanted to kind of go over the most popular options that are out there today. Definitely in my top list, I would say that my personal favorite, the one that I use the most, is Zoho Vault. But a close second there is definitely Warden. The interface, again, the only other thing I would really comment with Warden is the interface is a little bit bare bones. There's not a lot of vibrant colors or anything that stand out, so it's really, you can tell, meant to be functional versus something that's more pretty for appealing to like a business or something. It's just very functional, and it does what it's supposed to do. LastPass would definitely be my third place runner because just some of the problems I've had, and also when you look at the actual value that you're getting for what you're paying for, when you start going into the paid options, they definitely get to be a little bit more expensive than what Zoho offers, and certainly more expensive than what is offered by Warden. So for the value kind of option there, I definitely think that it falls behind or lags behind. And then after that, I don't really have a preference. Again, Mikey that we looked at earlier is definitely my favorite offline password manager. It's a great option for anyone that just does not trust having their information actually up there in the cloud. But if you're looking for something else, we did look at Sticky Password, we looked at RoboForm, and we looked at OnePassword, and they are okay options, but just, again, nothing super special that would have made me switch to them. So that's my review of these password managers. Feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions, any comments. Leave a like if you like this video. And then, as always, I did want to just mention a couple things real quick before you go. Some ways that you can support the channel. If you wanted to donate, there is a donate option there. But if you'd like to support the channel for free, there are some options here where you can help to support the channel without paying anything, and you can actually get something out of it as well. There are several applications that I usually like to promote with my videos here. Here you can see that I've got this app called Be Frugal. And Be Frugal is an app that allows you to get cash back on different websites. You can see here I can get cash back on Lenovo's website. I can get cash back on all kinds of different technology websites. If I wanted to save on my ink, for example, with 4 inkjets, you can see 23% cash back, 2.25% cash back on eBay. So there's just a ton of different places that you can go, you can shop, and if you do it through the actual app, then you're automatically going to get a discount, a percentage discount, as well as different deals here. You can see that there are deals that are exclusive to this app that can save you a lot of money. It doesn't cost you anything to use this. You just use this app to shop through these different websites, and then you automatically get that discount. So I'll have a link in the description if you're interested in using this, and you can see here in my Earn category of apps that there are a ton of other different options in here. I'm going to put a list of all of these, including Ibotta. Feature Points is in there, Rakuten's option is in there as well. Those are all great apps that you can use to get discounts on your shopping and whenever you're in retail stores as well. And then the final thing that I wanted to talk about here was the Cash App, and I just wanted to quickly show you here kind of what you can do with the Cash App is you can use this to send money to your friends. If you wanted to send cash to a friend or request money from a friend, you can do that for free very easily. The other thing that's really nice is you get a debit card completely free once you sign up as well, which is really, really nice. You can actually even use this pretty much as a bank or at least a prepaid card if you want. Because there's no charge to using the app or of any of the functions really, other than if you're trying to get money instantaneously. I believe there might be a fee, but ultimately there's really not any fee that you would have to worry about. And the other cool thing here is, let me just pull up the card real quick. Okay, so if we look here at the card that I have pulled up here in the Cash App, I just wanted to show you really quick some of the boosts that are available. And this is really cool because, again, the above card that you see is a representation of the debit card that I actually have through Cash. And so I can go in here and I can select any of these boosts that I want. You can see if I select the Chick-fil-A boost, then every time I go to Chick-fil-A and I use the debit card that I have with my Cash App, I'm going to get 10% off of Chick-fil-A, or if I wanted to use it for Sonic, I can use it there. I can use it at McDonald's, Bath & Body Works, Lyft, 10% off of one visit at Walmart, which could be huge if you're doing a large grocery purchase, AMC, DoorDash, coffee, and Nike. There's a ton of options, and these options change very frequently. There are a few like this 10% off of Nike, which is locked, and you can see here it'll say that you have to achieve a certain number of purchases in order to unlock that particular boost. But the rest of these are really, really useful and already available. I don't have to do anything to earn them. Chick-fil-A, for example, I go there frequently, and I'm able to get 10% off of my order every time by using it. So it's each visit I'm getting 10% off, which is huge savings, and I literally can use it just for there if I want. I don't have to use this as my main debit card. I can literally just load $20 onto my card, pay for my meal at Chick-fil-A, get my 10% boost, and use my main debit card for everything else if I want. So that's really cool that I can use these boosts to save money. But just wanted to show this to you guys. And again, if you guys use the link in the description to sign up for the Cash App, you get free money. You get, I think it's at least $5 that you get for signing up. Then you get your free debit card, and you can get all of these free boosts without paying anything extra. I'm not sponsored by any of these different services, just so to keep that in mind, but it is something that I do get a commission for if you guys sign up. So if you're interested, check that out. But other than that, that's my review here, and that's my feedback. Again, leave a comment if you have anything that you want to hear back on. Like the video if you liked it, and otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.